Welcome to Boardroom Blitz, presented by 1871. I'm Jeremy Bacon, a multi-time founder, investor, and startup mentor who's built, bought, backed, exited, and occasionally been punched in the face by the companies that I love. This is my dear friend, Gary.
And I'm Gary Cooper, a millennial founder, neuroscientist, investor, startup mentor, who's been just punched in the face by a lot of people and things.
That's what makes it so much fun to be an entrepreneur, right?
Yes.
Well, Gary, it's Friday, and it's been a
Yes.
couple of days since you and I had a chance to chat about stuff. I'm just curious, how's the week ending for you?
The week is sitting on a good note. It's sunny in Chicago. We've gotten through some storms. We've gotten through a financial audit at my company, which I'm really excited about. Some really cool deals. Techstar Chicago just ended. They had their demo day that I attended. Some really cool companies. So it's all good.
All good stuff. Yeah, lots of exciting stuff
yourself?
happening. Well, just chilling. I had a great week this last week because my wife and I got a chance to sneak away for a couple of days. So I worked like a dog over the weekend, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I was out. And no, that's not true. Monday, I don't remember when I was out. I was out for a few days. That's all I know. And
That's great. You don't even remember the days that you were out.
I don't know what today is, let alone what yesterday was. Yeah, I don't know.
How would you score your time away? Was it exactly what you needed? Okay.
It was a 10 out of 10. It was fabulous.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. It was a 10 out of 10. For two reasons. One is because I love my wife dearly. We've been married for 26 plus years, and she's the best, and I love her to death. We don't get a chance to run away a lot often together. Most of our kids are out of the house. As you know, we have one at home still. He's out. He's been out on a trip to Belize, the little punk, where he's been scuba diving for, like, looking at sunken treasures and meeting SpongeBob SquarePants and stuff, and we're super jealous. So that's why we ran away. We're like, we have to go somewhere cool, too. So we did, and it was great, and we're back.
I love that.
Yeah, we're back. So here we are, having some fun.
You got to teach me your tricks of how to get away. Like I don't know it. I don't know that trick.
I will share that. I will share the secrets in another episode. How's that sound?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Super cool. All right. Well, maybe we should jump in. So as everyone that is watching knows, the entire point of our show is to bring together real world experience where we can, some irreverent humor, and then combine that with tactical advice for navigating what is often a super awkward leap into executive leadership, whether that's through the path of a founder, entrepreneur, or the path of an executive working at a growth stage or forever time company. We are here to sort of help share some advice and some rules of the road. The goal, of course, is that anyone from a Zoomer to a Boomer can learn cool tips and tricks from the entrepreneurs, investors, and executives that we bring onto the show each week who share their journeys with us. And so I'm super jazzed today about our guest. I've known her for quite some time. She is one of the coolest people ever. Emily Groden, who is the founder of Evergreen. And Evergreen is, I always describe Evergreen as like the coolest company because what Emily has proven is that frozen waffles don't have to be these weird beige rectangles or ovals of like parental compromise that you throw into a toaster and hope don't kill you or your children when they pop up and you eat them. And so we're going to hear about her journey today and what she's built and what her team has built with Evergreen. But we're super jazzed to have you with us, Emily. Thanks for joining.
Thank you so much for having me and for that amazing introduction. I just want to bottle it up and put it in my back pocket.
And take it with you?
Yeah, take it with me forever. Play
I
it whenever I need a little boost.
I can already say, Jeremy, Emily, I love your swag. First of all, I'm already like iterating on like Replay swag, but I'm like, I want some of that swag specifically. Is there a place that people can buy or I can buy that?
Do you, not currently.
Okay.
But the best part about this swag is that it's not just a sweatshirt with a cute little waffle guy and pancake guy on there. It's actually a scratch and sniff sweatshirt. So when you scratch it, it smells like maple syrup.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I think that might be the crowning achievement of my career so far is this sweatshirt.
Well, so when I first saw you wearing that sweatshirt, I thought for sure you were going to start selling them on the internet. Like, because, obviously if you want to buy Evergreen waffles on the internet, you can. You have an e-commerce thing, but that's not the focus of what you do. You're an in-store thing. We'll talk about that. But like, I was like, oh my God, like we need to have this swag on the internet. I would buy so many of these sweatshirts. So
I do. I'm hopeful that there's a future state where you can buy these on the internet because they're amazing, and we designed them for Expo West, which is the big kind of better for you food and bev and beauty trade show every year, and they were such a hit. People loved them. It was so fun, like such a like surprise and delight moment. So I would like.
I have to imagine the entire expo hall smelled like maple syrup too, right? I mean,
we got these hilarious messages afterwards from people who were like, everybody was looking at me on the plane. Like I had to wash everything in my closet because everything smelled like maple syrup afterwards. The scent does fade after a few washes. But yeah, but it's part of the fun of it. Like you don't expect maple syrup scent on a sweatshirt.
You don't, but it's great. Oh, that's super cool. Super cool.
My name is Emily Groden. I'm the founder and CEO of Evergreen. We make delicious frozen breakfast products. We are best known, and our kind of hero original product was waffles. We're actually launching pancakes this summer, which we can get into later. But all of our products are crave-worthy first. We like to say quietly nutritious behind the scenes. So we sneak things in like hidden veggies and 100% whole grains, and we don't use refined sugars. We use maple syrup. We don't use seed oils. We use avocado oil, but they're so yummy. You'd never know that it's good for you too. But if you had told me 11 years ago when I was graduating from law school that I would be a waffle and pancake maker, I definitely would have laughed in your face. So it's been a really wild journey with several real sharp left turns that I know we will dive into on the podcast.
But that's how it works, right? Some of the best experiences, and some of the best businesses are built in this exact way, right? Where you wake up one day and you're like, I'm a successful lawyer having a great time living in the wonderful suburbs of Chicago doing my thing, but I need and want to do something a little differently. Let me figure this out for myself, right? And so that's really how this started, right? Like you said, I can't feed my daughters this thing that I picked up in the grocery store today. I don't feel good about it. I'm going to sneak some nutrition into a meal for them. And so you bought like a little waffle iron and started going, right?
Exactly. I think I am truly the quintessential accidental entrepreneur. Like this idea pretty literally smacked me across the face when I was driving home from work one night. I was listening to a podcast that just so happened to be talking about frozen waffles. And the podcast basically said, Cliff Notes version, it's this huge category in grocery retail at the time. So this was 2018. It was $1.2 billion. And also at the time, it was 80% Eggos. It blew my mind.
Whoa.
Now, I was not a frozen waffle consumer. I don't think I'd ever thought twice about frozen waffles in my life. I don't think I ever would have thought twice about frozen waffles again, except I was pregnant with my now 7-year-old daughter. And I just remember sitting there in the car at a red light thinking like, well, shoot, as much as I aspire to be one of those moms that makes everything from scratch and like, has homemade spinach muffins for my kid every morning. Like I'm a lawyer, like I'm a working mom. I know I'm not going to have the time or the energy to do that. So I'm going to need something like a frozen waffle. Like what's that other 20% of the category? And I went to my local Whole Foods and started flipping packages around of the frozen waffles that were on shelf at the time. And to my dismay, realized that they were all kind of like that brand I mentioned in the yellow box. Ingredients, had to Google a bunch of stuff to figure out what it was, weren't exactly like packed with nutrition. I was like, I don't really want to feed her those either. So how about this? Instead of settling, I'll buy a mini waffle iron and I will basically meal prep on Sunday afternoons. And so that's what I did. I bought a mini waffle iron. I have it right here.
Of course you do.
I always keep it right next to me.
Is it bronzed? You should totally have that thing bronzed.
I should turn it into like a little trophy. Yes. So I bought that mini waffle iron on Amazon. I took out my blender and I opened my pantry and my fridge and I was like, okay, what would I want in a waffle? Like, what do I want my kid eating every day? And pulled out whole veggies, whole fruits, whole grains, eggs, maple syrup, avocado oil, water, like not much else. Some spices, some nuts, threw it all into the blender.
11 delicious ingredients.
Just like real food, delicious ingredients. And that was my batter. And on Sunday afternoons, I'd make these big batches of waffles and I would stick them in a Ziploc bag and put them in the freezer. And that's what I pulled from during the week to feed my daughter when I had like 5 minutes before I had to run out the door.
So then it turns into a company. How you end up like feeding friends who are over for like wine night or something like that. And you're like, hey, try my apple cinnamon waffle. What happened?
Not exactly. No, basically that's what my daughter ate for like the first year of her solid eating life for breakfast. And after that year, I kind of sat back and I was like, well, like she loves them. She devours them. I love them because they make my life so much easier. And I feel so much better about it. Like there's plenty of mom guilt going on anyway. Like this was one thing that I knew I was doing right. And I was like, I'm probably not the only mom out there, and she's probably not the only kid out there who would actually eat them. I actually didn't give them to a whole lot of friends. I gave them to a few close friends. Like people are always like, tell me about the like consumer research and insights. I'm like, honestly, there wasn't much of it. Like it was just, I had this intuition because I was the consumer. Like I was my own core consumer and I knew I needed this. And I knew that I couldn't be the only one. And so,
well, on that point, sorry not to you off, but like customer discovery obviously is a huge deal, right? And so whether you're a software company or an AI thing or a hardware thing or whatever, like customer discovery is what it's all about. And so, you, to your point, you are the target customer, you are the target audience, and so is everybody else that you're thinking about. So, I would argue that that number one, you should have done more customer discovery, but you get a hall pass to a certain extent because you know your target market so well because it's you. Right. And the market would have told you really quickly if you didn't get it right? So, and so that's what I think is super awesome for our folks to hear is like how you made that leap and say, great, I'm going to go from my kitchen to I'm going to hire a co-packer and go make some stuff. Like what was that choice like? And where'd you screw up?
A lot of steps in between this and then actually getting into a co-packer.
Sure.
No, I mean, I really started from scratch. I spoke on a panel at Northwestern. It was a joint law school, business school panel for food business and law. And I spoke on it in my capacity as the general counsel for the Alinea Group at TAC, which was my role at the time. And there was a woman on the panel who had a bar company, like a nutrition bar company. And I looked at her packaging and I was like, well, that looks good. And so I asked her afterwards, I was like, who'd you use to design your packaging? And she gave me the people's name and I emailed them and they designed our first package. So that was a check, got the packaging done. Then I got certified to work out of a shared commercial kitchen and started making waffles 2 days a week. I dropped down to part-time at my role, walked into my boss's office who owns a 3 Michelin star restaurant and was like, hi, I'm your lawyer and I want to make frozen waffles. Can I drop down to part-time? It was horrifying. It was a horrifying conversation. Yeah. But have to give him credit. He was like, sure.
I'm sorry, I can't stop laughing at the visual.
Yeah, no, right.
What that felt like.
I've never been so nervous.
Well, if anyone who's listening knows the Alinea Group too, like these are like amazing restaurants. Like this is like the creme de la creme of yes, exactly, of like the food world. And so I'm half surprised that he wasn't like, no, how about not? But also not surprised because it's food, man, and food is joy in life. And so it's great. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but it's super cool.
And they're such entrepreneurs at heart. Sure. So yes, in my mind I was like 50% chance I get fired. Literally, I had a conversation with my husband the morning I was going to go do this, and I was like, just like, I might come home without a job tonight.
He's like, no problem. You got waffles. It's good.
Yeah. So, no, he didn't fire me. He didn't even laugh at me. He was like, you do you on 2 days a week as long as you can get your work done for us on the other 3. So I started 2 days a week. I had a little table at a shared commercial kitchen and I started making our waffles. And in the mornings I would go to Whole Foods and Costco to buy our ingredients, which I don't recommend buying your raw materials at Whole Foods if you want to make a margin.
Right.
But that's what I did. And then I'd make waffles all day and I would bring them home to my warehouse, which was our basement freezer, and I would stick them in the freezer. And then I started going around to corner stores in Chicago with a duffel bag, and I had my household toaster, some bags of waffles, maple syrup, paper plates, plastic utensils, and I'd walk into corner stores. So like Olivia's Market in Bucktown was my first account. I walked in there and I basically was like,
I love Olivia's.
So,
Yeah, I
so
used
do
to go
I.
there.
I loved it as a consumer, and I love it. It has a special place in my heart as an
Yes.
entrepreneur. But I walked in and I was like, my name's Emily. I make waffles. I think they'd sell great here. I have my toaster. Can I plug it in and heat you up some waffles? And much to my surprise, they said yes, as did all the other corner stores I went in, and they all loved them. And so I got my first few accounts that way. I was my own distributor. I would leave, I would drive. I was living in the suburbs at the time. And so on the days that I was making deliveries, I would drive to down to my accounts. I would put my waffles in a like igloo cooler full of ice. And I didn't even have like a case pack size. I let people order by the unit, and I would just walk in and deliver my product, and then I'd walk out, and then I'd get to work a few minutes late and hope nobody noticed. But that was
Can I just ask, because like you, I had a real job and then kind of a fake job at the beginning, right? So I was like a neuroscientist in a lab, and then one day I found myself like thinking about waste in a very weird way. When you were like, yeah, I don't know, a week after that conversation of going part time, like you were a lawyer for maybe the best restaurant group, definitely in Chicago, maybe in the country. And now you're like hands in like waffle mix, like at a cloud kitchen essentially, then delivering from an eagle. Like, was there ever a moment where you're like, what is life? Like, what am I doing? Or was it all just smooth and like, this is my purpose and this feels right?
smooth is definitely not the word I would use to describe it. Especially when like there was this little like ledge that I had to get over to get into the kitchen, and I always put my ingredients on a cart. And the number of times that cart tipped over and all of the eggs I just bought at Costco would spill over and break, and I'd have to go back to Costco. So yeah, smooth is like definitely not the word I would use. But I don't know. I genuinely don't know how to describe it. From the moment I had the idea, it took over. Like I would lie in bed at night staring at the ceiling thinking about waffles.
This is the founder's curse, which is a blessing and a curse, right?
Yes, it is it is. I feel so lucky, right, to have had this idea. Like I said, like literally smacked me across the face, but just believe in it so deeply. Like even talking about it now, I can like physically feel in my core that this is what I was meant to do. So yeah, no, I never questioned that it was the right thing to do.
Well, let's provide some. Oh, sorry. Let's provide some context
I think
too.
it goes back to what Jeremy was saying in the beginning about how when your business fills an authentic need in your life, that's the way some of the best businesses are built. For me, because it was such an authentic need in my life, and like my kids, one of whom tried to interrupt our interview about 30 seconds ago.
Oh, we heard it's awesome.
Still, both of them had our product this morning, and actually they both ate waffles yesterday too. Like we would not survive mornings in my household without our waffles. And so whenever like the day feels tough or like something doesn't go our way, we don't get in a retailer we wanted to, if ever I thought like, oh, I should just throw in the towel, I could never, because I need it. I live my brand every day.
You'd be back to making them for yourself. Well, so confession here. This morning I had peanut butter banana bread waffles. Your peanut butter banana bread waffles for breakfast, and I put extra peanut butter on top of them because I'm a super peanut butter fan. Anyway, super delicious and they're awesome. But one of the things that might be helpful too is provide a bit of context with regards to like where you've come. So like you started this in your house, then you went to corner stores, and then you've moved from like making all this stuff yourself and spilling your Costco eggs and having to go back to getting big enough to be able to raise some funding, and then to go launch with a co-packer and really start to grow. And you've gone from a handful of stores to, I don't want to steal your thunder. Why don't you tell us like where you've come? And like, this is not just like a corner store success story. This is a big deal at this point, and getting bigger every single day, which is really exciting. And it could only happen because of that passion.
Thank you. Yeah, no, we are now, fast forward 6 years from launch. We're on 9,000 grocery store shelves across the country. So all Whole Food stores, all Sprouts Farmers Market stores, thousands of Kroger stores, all the way down to select Targets and Walmarts and a whole bunch of places in between. It is totally surreal. Like, even it does not get old saying that and thinking back to like my blender and my little mini waffle iron, and my duffel bag with my household toaster. But we are now, we're the number one frozen waffle brand in the two largest national natural retailers. I'm not technically allowed to say, but you can probably fill in the blanks. Stores you know and love. Last year, we were the 16th fastest growing food and beverage company in the United States and the 303rd fastest growing company, period, overall across all industries, according to Inc. magazine. So it is, yes, it is. We've come a long way from my Costco egg breaking days to today, but I still, in a lot of ways, feel like we're just getting started. We have so much further to go.
For sure. Well, being where you are today is, again, super exciting, and you do have lots of room to grow. So I'm curious, which is also part of the cool story. So two ways you're growing. One is not just waffles. I see a pancake on your hoodie too. Why don't you tell us a bit about that? And then I'd love to jump into a little bit to talk about the seat, like the board, the raising the money, some of the things that have come along the way as you've sort of started to grow and gotten into the 9,000 locations you're in today.
Yeah. So today we only sell waffles. So we've stayed super focused. And even on 9,000 shelves, and we have two different waffle lines. We have a mini waffle line, which was our kind of OG. That's what I started making for my daughter. And then now we have a thick and fluffy waffle line, which are larger waffles, still have all the, goodness that I described earlier, the hidden veggies, the 100% whole grains, etc. But they're bigger. Long story, going back to consumer insights, long story short, my 7-year-old daughter, who was a baby when I started making her the mini waffles, is now a big girl with a big appetite, and she wanted bigger waffles. So here we are, made her bigger waffles. The difference between the early days and now is that when I told my team, like, I need to make bigger waffles for my bigger daughter, they were like, okay, now can we like affirm that this is a good idea with some data? And so we did that. And what we learned was, what we were seeing was like, we really kind of owned families with little kids 0 to 6. Like, we over-index relative to our competitors by 2.5x. And then that gap to our competitors started to fade as kids got older, as we got into like families with kids 7 to 12. And so we were like, maybe these little kids who love our mini waffles, once they get older, are graduating from our mini waffles to a different waffle brand, another waffle brand that has bigger waffles. And I was like, I don't want them graduating to another brand. I want to grow with them and keep them within the Evergreen family. And so it did make sense at the end of the day to launch bigger waffles. So we have those two lines now. We are launching pancakes this summer, which I am so excited about. Again, it really does all come back to my family. My daughters.
But minis or big ones? Or regular size?
They are 4-inch in diameter. So like kind of in the middle. But they are thick and fluffy pancakes. They truly are like thick and fluffy and delicious and decadent. If I were served these at a diner or a restaurant, I would be thrilled. My daughters love pancakes, and they more and more were asking, kind of in between their waffle breakfasts, if me or my husband would make pancakes from a mix. And even a mix, like on a weekday when I'm trying to get them to school before the bell.
It's a lot.
Forget about it. Like, you're standing there.
It's messy. Has anyone ever made pancakes?
You stand there over the stove waiting for like the bubbles to form before you can flip it. And then I always flipped it too fast because I was trying to shortcut, and then it was even messier.
Yes,
so I was like, I need a pancake that can be ready in 30 seconds in the microwave. So that was the idea. And then again, we looked at the data, and it's like, oh, pancakes are one of the fastest growing frozen breakfast segments. They're growing almost double digits year over year, and there hasn't been a ton of innovation. So like, actually, it's a perfect next product for us. Oh, and by the way, it's still super focused. Merchandise in a store, it'll be right next to our waffles, if not like right under or right above, so we can keep building out this brand billboard. So it worked perfectly. And then we're also this summer launching, because we're gluttons for punishment, like why launch one product line when you can launch two? We are launching a protein waffle and a protein pancake, which obviously, unless you're living under a rock, you know that protein is big these days.
Indeed it
And
is.
we've been asked for years to make a protein line and really pushed it off because, again, goes back to like, what do I want to be feeding my kids? And if it's not something I want to be feeding my kids, I'm not making it. And it never felt authentic to me, to the brand, to just dump a bunch of highly processed protein powder into our products to just kind of check the protein box. So we always said no. But then we realized, like, wait a minute, maybe we could do the protein thing, but in the Evergreen way, in a way that doesn't compromise on our values and our mission. And so our protein products, the added protein is just from Greek yogurt and egg whites. So it's real food protein, still real food ingredients, something I'd be thrilled if my kids ate to get a little extra protein in the morning, something I'm definitely going to eat all the time. So those are also launching this summer.
Which is super exciting.
Super
Awesome.
exciting.
Super, super duper awesome.
Jeremy, can I ask a question
100%.
about the breakfast category?
Yeah.
So maybe, I know you talked about kind of the overall vision of the company at the very top, but like, can you talk a little bit about this category? I mean, one of the things as a consumer, especially when one's trying to lose weight, people are both saying, eat a really good breakfast. Sometimes they say fast. But when you actually look at the breakfast category for most consumers, there aren't a lot of healthy options unless you're just doing a protein shake and a banana, right? And so like you trying to bring quick, easy, tasty, nutritious options to what feels like a category everyone tells you need to eat, but a lot of the options are not great for you. I'm just curious, like how you think about like this category in general.
Yeah. One of my favorite statistics that we've learned from syndicated data is that 6 out of every 10 households in the U.S. already buy waffles, pancakes, or French toast, which is kind of wild to think about. Like that's high household penetration. And yet 20% of Evergreen shoppers are brand new to the frozen waffle, pancake, French toast category.
That's amazing. So what that means, right? So you're in a category that's already crowded, and that's pretty well penetrated.
Yep.
You're actually introducing a whole new 20% to that mix, and I'm guessing that 20% are people that, like your stores, are interested in acquiring for a whole other reasons as well, right?
Right. So we are bringing a brand new consumer over who previously, was probably like, I should eat breakfast, but like frozen breakfast.
That's me.
Even the healthy.
I fast at breakfast because of the exact reason.
Yeah. Like I can't find something that's convenient enough, and frozen's convenient, but doesn't check my nutritional boxes. Or maybe like me was like, I want something quick and easy that my kid's going to eat, but like, this doesn't feel great to me, so I'm just going to make it myself. We're bringing that consumer over to the category now, which, yes, to your point, from a retail buyer's perspective, like, one of our grocery store buyers is gold because they're like, I can automatically grow my category by bringing in Evergreen because I get a new consumer over that previously walked right past.
I literally avoid the aisle at the grocery store. Like I don't even go down this aisle until you all. I'm like, where's the Evergreen? Where is it? It's in the frozen section.
It's cool. There's a kind of a renaissance happening in the frozen aisle right now, which has been really exciting. And I actually have a lot of frozen founder friends who are doing incredible things. But it's actually a great place if you can get past all the complications with supply chain and whatnot, which could be a whole other podcast. But because the freezer is your preservative, you can make really clean label, real ingredient products if you're willing to, withstand the pain of being in the frozen category. But yeah, there's some really cool stuff happening in frozen right now.
So and I want to get to the board bit of this, Jeremy, but I'm curious, like just stepping the company up, when you go from, hey, my daughter likes this, I like this product, I'm half quitting my job, then full quitting my job to kind of really make it happen. When was that moment in scale of a company where you're like, oh, like I have to hire people, I might have to take investments. Do I know what I'm doing? Like, can you talk about like that exact moment, and then I that could be a jumping off point for us to talk about.
It's a perfect transition to the board piece. Yeah, I did this alone as a one-woman show for the first 3 years, which is in hindsight probably too long, but it was just me. So from March of 2020 to March of 2023, it was like I had zero CPG experience. I literally didn't know what CPG stood for. I had to Google what that was because I also wasn't like a business school student, you know. I was just a lawyer mom who made waffles for my kids and was trying to navigate this like very complicated world that is not only grocery retail, but distributors and frozen supply chain and all that jazz. At the end of 3 years, we were on about 650 shelves, I believe, at the time. We were in 2 regions of Whole Foods and then some kind of regional independent grocery stores, and had seen just kind of like really organic growth year over year. And I wasn't doing a lot of marketing because I was a one-woman show and I didn't really know what marketing was. So it was just word of mouth. You know, moms were finding it and telling their mom friends, like, you got to try this. And basically after 3 years, I kind of looked around and I was like, I think I brought this as far as I can bring it myself, but I can tell that it has legs, like very confident at this point that it is incremental to the category, that it's resonating with the consumer. And so I think it's probably time to bring in some money and to hire some people who know a lot more about this than I do. And so that's what I did. I started kind of the first round was friends and family and some local angels. And Long Jump, who has been a long time supporter. I'm so grateful. And so brought in our first round that way, and then made my first couple hires. So first 2 hires were sales and marketing. Importantly, the other detail that I have to mention is that around this time, I figured out manufacturing. It had taken me basically 3 years to figure out how do I make this product at scale. Like I said, I started in a shared commercial kitchen. Then I found a small manufacturer outside of the city. I went to, again, that could be a whole other podcast. I showed up at that manufacturing facility with my blender on the first day. And the guy who ran the facility was like, sorry, like, why do you have your blender under your arm? And I was like, I'm going to show you how to make my batter. And he was like, no, I'm going to show you how to make your batter.
Right.
So I like sheepishly went back to the car and put my blender away and came back inside. But worked there for a year. Then I opened my own facility for a year, which, gosh, I wish I had somebody around me at the time to be like, that is a terrible idea. What are you doing? Like, I had this huge walk-in freezer built. I bought all this equipment to make our products. I hired a few folks. And I was 7 months pregnant when we opened it with my second daughter. So, but by the end of that year, we were large enough to partner with a large scale manufacturer who had, you know, all the quality assurance that I wanted and needed, and could make as many waffles as I could dream of. They're actually still our manufacturer today. They've been an incredible partner for the last 4 years. And so as soon as I had like the volume and the capacity, and again, I felt like I'd taken it as far as I could go. I was like, okay, now I need a salesperson to sell all these waffles, but then I also need a marketing person, because if we get on all these shelves, I need to know how to support those retailer partners and make sure that we have the velocities we need and we're turning product, selling through all that product. So I made those first 2 hires in March of 2023.
Obviously, and we're so grateful to work with you at Long Jump. And obviously, Rebecca's story at Long Jump, has a lot of similarities to yours, but were there people early on when you were making that, what I think is somewhat of a quantum leap, right? Going from a solopreneur, literally from batter to finance to legal, you're doing everything, and then hiring your first couple of hires. Was there someone who you reached out to who was like, hey, maybe hire a sales and marketing person? Was it just gut and research, or taking into that a little bit?
This industry, well, first, Rebecca is incredible. And she has been like such a sounding board, a shoulder to cry on over the years.
Yes,
she texts me all the time and is like, just checking in, how you doing? Like, and she's done it for years. So yes, I've leaned on Rebecca constantly over the last several years. This industry, one of my favorite things about the work that I get to do is being a part of this better for you food and bev industry. It is amazing. Like, I think really at the end of the day, if you step back, we're all in this with the same goal, which is to bring better food to people. And so you don't get like, it's not like a zero sum game. You don't feel the competitiveness. Like I literally have a text chain with some other frozen founders called Frozen Friends. And it's just like a constant back and forth asking questions like what service provider do you like for this? It's so supportive. And people just want to help each other. And so early on, I was connected with just like word of mouth. You start to meet other founders within the industry. And a lot of my early hires were like, I was talking to founders who were several years ahead of me, and they're like, hey, you should consider this person for this role. Or I heard this person is now free and wants to do some consulting. Like, why don't you work with them and see if they're maybe a good fit for the long term? And so it's been a lot of word of mouth. But yeah, I rely on folks within the industry constantly for advice.
That's awesome. So along the way too, you've gone from sort of friends and family and early pre-seed angel and pre-seed institutional investors to like Series A, like some of the most important, some of the best CPG, food and beverage investors in the world are on your cap table now. Like, I'm curious about like the journey to that, right? And then what has changed the most in terms of board governance, board relationship, like surprises to you as the CEO, as you've sort of like gone from, okay, we're a fast growing startup. Okay, we're the fastest growing brand in this category in the US. Okay, we're about to launch a bunch more products. Okay, all of our stores want us in more locations faster and more product. And oh my God, like I'm curious to know how that relationship with those level of investors has sort of helped to inform your planning and what advice you've got for folks that are finding themselves in that same situation and maybe in different categories.
Yeah, I have always said like I actually really like fundraising, and people are like, "What? You're crazy." But I like it because I view it similarly with building your team. Like I view it as an opportunity to surround myself with, again, people who know a lot more about this than I do. And that's always my goal. Like surround myself with people who have more experience, who've seen more, who I can learn from. I'm a lifelong athlete. I love being coached. And so that's kind of the lens that I approach fundraising with. And so when I thought about this round, for example, and like who I wanted to bring around the table, I try to think about like kind of what's the expertise of the folks who are already on the cap table, and like where do we have holes and where can I like plug those holes. So, we had from our Series C, we had an incredible venture capital fund who led our Series Seed, and they are invested in like the who's who of better for you brands. So their experience is amazing. They have seen so much. There's nobody in this industry they don't know. They could make any introduction. Incredible value add there. Then we brought on another fund for a bridge round, and then they ended up co-leading our Series A, who have incredible experience in sales. Like the founder of the fund is one of the co-founders of our national broker. They know I bounce questions off him all the time about sales. So like we kind of checked the sales box. And then I was like, it might be helpful to have some operational expertise around the cap table. And so we brought on a fund who is kind of the investing arm of a big family owned frozen bakery business. And so like they know a lot about how to make frozen baked goods. And that has been incredibly valuable. And so I really do I view my investors as an extension of my team. One of my investors once, I was, had a challenge, and I picked up the phone and I called him and I was like, you're first person I call, I just want to bounce some things off you. And he was like, can I just say how refreshing it is that I'm the first person you called? So many founders never call us. And then it's like, what's the point of having you around the table? Like the point of having you around the table is that I have the privilege of getting to pick up the phone and call you, and you've seen all these things, scenarios play out before. So of course you're going to be my first phone call. And he was like, I just wish more founders thought like that. And so yeah, I with every round I've gotten to tack folks on who bring new perspectives and have new experiences and have different expertise that make me a better leader and make our company stronger too.
Love it.
And Jeremy, that's a pro move. I mean, even though she's this is her first time around the the horn, I mean, cap table construction, where there's like people who have different expertise in different parts of your market or your value chain, where you're learning and or you feel less comfortable, that's like a pro move to do.
Totally. Yeah, it's rare that that first time founders figure that out so early in the journey, and you're fortunate that you figured it out, and that you're also smart enough and humble enough to be open to the coaching and to saying, hey, look, I want to win, and so I'm going to do what I have to do to win, which is get the right people. And it's not just the people that work with you every day in the trenches; it's the people that work with you from the cap table perspective too. And like, I think a lot of times, and Gary, you see this too, like, working with founders and companies I'm invested in, and like, you don't see the humility as much as you'd like to see it as an investor sometimes from the founders. Part of that, I think, sometimes is because, like, as a founder, I mean, we all know this, we're all founders, like, you also feel like, oh, I should know the answer. I should just know this because it's my baby. I work on it every day. I think about it when I go to bed, when I wake up, I dream about it all day long. So I should just know. I shouldn't have to. But like, that is, of course, silly. No one knows everything, and no one's experienced everything. And so it takes a self-confident person to be able to be humble enough to say, I need your help. Work with me here. And then it takes a great salesperson to be able to sell to the right investors, because it's also hard to get them to be like, oh yeah, you've got what I'm looking for. Right. And because they know what they're doing, and they're looking for someone with that humility. And so it's really cool. It's great. Super fun to watch. Super fun to watch the story. Should we ask you a couple of stupid boardroom blitz questions? Because they're fun. Oh, Gary has a question first. Maybe?
Oh yeah.
Before stupid, I love stupid and funny, but and you said, I just wrote it down. You said a word, Emily, that's really important for me, and I always tell folks I get a chance to mentor around using the word coaching. So when I've deleted the word advice from my lexicon, and when I'm asking someone who's senior to me, I say, "What's your best coaching?" or "Can you coach me on this?" So I'm curious, what's some coaching that you've gotten in your business that has been like, whoa, like that either it was not great to hear, but right, or it was good to hear and right? Like, what was something that, like, a piece of coaching that you got that really kind of was a game changer, an inflection for you?
Well, back to Rebecca. One of the things that Rebecca has texted me about incessantly over the last, call it, year and a half. She's like, are you ready to talk to an executive coach yet? Speaking of literal coaching, are you ready to talk to an executive coach yet? Are you ready? Like, over and over again. And I was like, nah, like, I think I'm good. And then finally, when we got to the stage where I no longer, everybody on my team, like, our team was big enough where not everybody was a direct report to me. I texted Rebecca and I was like, okay, I think I'm ready, because I've never, like, this is new. This is very new for me to, like, how do I, and we're a remote company too. So, like, how do I make everybody feel like they have access to me? How do I make sure that the culture I want to build pervades across when I'm not talking to everybody every day anymore? And so she was like, perfect, I got the person for you. And so she introduced me, my executive coach, who I've been working with for a bit now. But yeah, I mean, I think one of the pieces of it, of one of the learnings that I've taken from kind of the first days of working with an executive coach is, like, you can have the best intentions, right, and be a kind and humble leader, but, like, that doesn't necessarily make you an effective leader all the time. And so working with her on how do you give negative feedback in a way that's the hard, and I'm still working on it, but, like, because
We
nothing,
all are, I think.
because nothing makes me want to vomit more than giving somebody negative feedback. But, like, how do you give negative feedback in a way, like, people deserve to get negative feedback. That can be a really helpful, valuable thing, not only for the company, but for them. And so, like, how do you frame it in a way that can be viewed as sometimes a positive, sometimes not, but effective either way. And so still working through that. But.
Love it. Yeah, sometimes you can run the risk of being too kind and too humble, right? Like, you've got to figure that out
all the time.
Exactly. And so, but that's the thing you learn with time. It just comes with the experience of doing it and making mistakes and tripping and falling over yourself. Yeah. which we all do every day in certain ways, which is exciting. All right, I'm going to make you trip and fall over a Boardroom Blitz question.
Oh,
Okay.
perfect. Can't
All
wait.
right, so Boardroom Blitz it's fun. We have random. There's like 10 random questions they're sort of silly, but also they're serious. Like everything else, we try to be a little bit of both. And so I have a fun vibe coded product that I built that I can push a button on here, and it like randomly picks one of those questions. You've seen the questions.
Feels very Jeremy.
But you never, I'm such a dork, but you don't know what you're going to get. And so until you get it. So I just push the button. It's very exciting. And it says, okay, so what's the dumbest thing you believed about the C-suite before you got there?
Ooh, dumbest thing I believed about the C-suite before I got there. I think that, so I actually technically got to the C-suite prior to this role. And it was when I was the general counsel. And I think one of the dumbest things was that I thought that the rest of the executive team would like want my business thoughts, you know?
Yeah.
Business people don't want lawyers' business thoughts. They're going to run away from lawyers' business thoughts. It's actually one of the reasons that I was so sure that I wanted to leave the law, because I was like, wait a minute, like nobody's ever going to listen to my ideas on the business side. And that made me sad. And so, you know, I think I love getting to make decisions and think strategically and have those discussions with the rest of my team. And I do solicit all of that information. Oh, and by the way, like my lawyers today, I view, again, as extensions of my team, as partners, but they do have to be business-minded lawyers for me to take their business advice. So
I love it. That's awesome. Okay. Another question.
I was like, oh, nobody wants to.
Oh, no one wants to hear. Lawyers just get a bad rap all the time. Yeah. We don't want to hear about risk mitigation strategies right now. Thank you very much. Yeah. Okay. All right. If your leadership style had a theme song, what would it be?
Well, we just talked about it. I think maybe Humble and Kind by Tim McGraw.
Oh, there you go.
Maybe I need to like asterisk it and add in some other things as I continue to grow as a leader. Because as we said, Humble and Kind's not gonna do it. But no, in all seriousness, we just, one of the things that we did once we kind of, like I said, had that additional layer of folks on our team, and it wasn't just like me and my direct reports anymore, was put pen to paper on our values as a company. And so our values are, we are kind, we are humble. And I really do I believe so deeply that they're so important. You know, I take nothing for granted. I know a lot of this is luck. I know a lot of it is because we've had incredible partners along the way, and it really takes a village. So humble and kind are really important to me. But beyond that, we are creative, we are agile, and we are honest are the other three. All very important. And if people walk away from working at Evergreen and say we are, if somebody says, what was it like to work there? And they say those 5 things, I'll be really proud.
So we'll take the Tim McGraw song and we'll add the other 3 values to it, and we'll pay him a royalty, and then we'll send you a copy of the song. How's that sound?
He'll re-record it. He'll record your commercial for the pancakes rollout. I'm just going to
we'll sing it for you.
Air. We'll put that in the air.
Well, that sounds very easy to execute. Yeah.
Gary will play the violin. I will play the guitar, and we'll sing it to you. Okay.
Oh, that's even better. Please.
All right, I have another question.
As long as we have the sweatshirts.
Okay, let's see here. Here's another one. It's spinning. It says, okay, so here's what is the one decision that you made that looked insane to everyone else but actually worked?
Oh, like quitting the law and starting
yeah, aside from that one, yeah. So along the growth stage, so as you've gotten to the point where your team, you've got stuff, right? So it might be like when you did like a big brand refresh, which happened a couple of years
That
ago, which
actually
is a
was,
catalyst, right?
that as you were talking, I was thinking the rebrand. Yeah, we did a massive rebrand in the beginning of 2024. It was one of so that marketing person I mentioned, my first marketing hire, came to me shortly after she started working for us and was like, what is your goal for Evergreen? And I said, I want to be the next big frozen breakfast brand. She said, awesome. I think you're a leader who can get there. I think the product is nearly there, but like, let me tell you, like that the brand is not even close. Like that brand is not the next big frozen breakfast brand. And I was kind of like, well, like, I love the brand. What are you talking about? And like, we're like a fast growing company. And she said, let's use Expo West, which we start open talking about. Let's use Expo West, the big annual trade show where there are 80,000 attendees, to do like real scrappy data collection and just ask everybody we talk to about their experience with the product and with the packaging. And what we heard over and over and over and over again was these waffles are so delicious. They're so much better than we thought they'd be. And we were kind of like, love that you love them, but also not ideal that you thought they'd be bad. Like, what made you think they would be bad? And we heard, again, everybody said, it's like, the white packaging. I have it somewhere. Beautiful.
I'm glad you do. I'm glad you're talking this because I was going to go into this with you.
Yep.
I loved when you guys made the switch in branding, yep. And I'll tell you why I thought so after you tell us why.
Okay, here is the old packaging. Here is the new packaging. Same SKU. Obviously very different. So people are like looking at this packaging and they're like, like the white background to me just shouts like healthy. And the green lettering and the sharp corners on the font just scream like it's like cold and sterile, and then like there's even like little drawings of like full vegetables on there, which just doesn't like give you the like warmth and like happiness and joy and nostalgia that like it's waffles at the end of the day. Like waffles should be fun, and there's zero fun on that packaging. And so I looked at my VP of marketing after that and I was like, okay, you were right. Like we should definitely rebrand. And my VP of sales was like, no, like absolutely not. Like I just got us on so many shelves. You're telling me that after all the success we've seen, like you want to like throw that out the door and just hope that this new brand does better? Like you've got to be crazy. But we pushed forward. The week the new branding hit shelves, and it was a flow through, meaning like we didn't pull all the old product off shelves, like it just started to show up. So the week it just started to show up on shelves, our velocities, which is the most important KPI in my world, the number of units per store per SKU per week you sell, jumped 62%. Nothing else changed. Like position on shelf didn't change. It was just the packaging. 62%. Wow. So I'd say it was the right decision. It was scary. For sure. It was scary for a minute, but it definitely paid off. And back to the investment question, we launched the new brand in January. We had our first institutional investment from the incredible fund I was talking about, who invests in kind of the who's who of better for you brands. I think we closed in June of that year. So I never talked to them before. They came by at Expo and it was real fast and it was done. Well, so I'm stoked that was the last Boardroom Blitz question because when I first became aware of the brand was right before the transition. And the first time I saw your product on the shelf, I said, okay, and this is not meant to sound negative at all, right? But I was like, okay, and a bit of a preamble here. So I teach a class at University of Chicago at Booth, right? And one of the things I just harp on every single day in my class is the importance of brand and image marketing. And it all comes down to like what the message you're conveying, right? At the end of the day, it's all image, it's all brand, it's all that matters. Mm-hmm. And so when I saw the brand originally, I was like, okay, this is a millennial mother who is health conscious, wants to feed her kids vegetables and fruits. And like, that's what the brand said, right? And so I said, I was like, I bet millennial moms who like want to feed their kids healthy stuff are looking at this packaging and oh, this is really cool. I'll try this out, right? But who are you really selling to in the supermarket, right? You're selling to the 7-year-old daughters, the 5-year-old sons, the 12-year-old. You're selling to them and they want to see like puffy
like happy rainbows and unicorns, right? And fun stuff. And so
Yeah.
anyway, it wasn't surprising to me at all when you rebranded and exploded, because like the brand now hits. And when you look at your packaging now, right, it's like you're still saying 11 fruits and vegetables, whole things, whole this, like all this awesomeness, but like that's hidden. So moms see that, dads see that, the conscious buyers see that, but the kids and everyone else feels, oh, this is party time for breakfast, right? Which is really, really cool. And I love it. The branding is just super cool. So I'm glad I'm glad you did that.
And Jeremy, connected to that, I think about like the famous Steve Jobs bit about marketing, which he says, marketing is just selling your values, right? So Emily was just talking about their values. And then in that rebrand, when she showed that second bag, I could see creativity, I could see kindness,
humility,
all those things, like those values translate into the marketing. Yeah.
I love that.
Awesome. Well, you're so cool. We're stoked that you came in to hang out with us today and had a nice long conversation with us. We really appreciate it. Yeah. I have one question for you before we let you go on with the rest of your day. And that is, I'm a super big reader dork. Gary's a super big reader dork. I'm always looking for recommendations. Do you have a favorite book or like super nerdy article or something that you've read recently that you think everyone should read and that you'd like us to read?
So here's a little secret about me.
Yes.
I pretty much exclusively read cookbooks cover to cover.
Nice. Okay.
All I say my name. I know, seriously. I mean, like when I say I'm obsessed with food, like I am obsessed with food, and it's all the media I consume. But I read cookbooks cover to cover. I am in the last few pages of Four Horsemen, which is a Brooklyn restaurant that I'm now dying to go to. But I love a cookbook that like not only the food is like, I love really seasonal, local cooking. But I love a cookbook that tells like a good story. And this is like a great storytelling cookbook outside of the recipes too. So the Four Horsemen, a great cookbook. Amazing. But I mean, that is like, if you can't see above, but in the shelves above, it's just packed with cookbooks.
I'm buying it right now. Thank you. That's fabulous. That is a fabulous recommendation.
Have you, as he's buying it, have you cooked a recipe from it or thought to cook a recipe from the cookbook?
Oh yeah, I did. I did 2 of the salads last weekend. My husband loves cooking too. We're like really a food family. But I did the beet salad in there and an asparagus salad. And I'm thinking about making some more. We belong to a CSA around from the Chicago area. And so I get all my fresh local seasonal produce delivered on Fridays. And so I'm excited to do some more.
Nice. Love it. Well, Emily, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. It's been super fun. It's always a pleasure.
Go buy Emily's products. They're amazing.
I know. Get some waffles, people.
Yes,
go to the food out.
Can I do a quick shout out?
Of course you can. Plug it.
So we've got a great store locator on our website, which is www.eatevergreen.com. And it's, one of those ones where you put in your zip code and it not only tells you where we're sold, but which of our flavors are in stock. And then you can actually even like add to Instacart directly from the website. It all bends my mind, but it works great. So you can go there, and then across all socials, we are at Eat Evergreen.
Love it. Good stuff. Cool. Thanks again. We really appreciate it.
Thank you both.
Oh, yeah. All right, Gary. And we'll chat again here soon with our next fabulous guest and ask some more Dumb Board or Blitz questions. It'll be great.
And maybe we'll bring some pancakes to the mix.
Oh, totally.
Wow. That was unintentional.
I'll send you both pancakes as soon as I have them. They are so good.
All right. I can't wait.
Thank you.
Of course.
Happy Friday.
Thanks a lot, Emily.
Boardroom Blitz is proudly presented by 1871, the world's leading nonprofit community dedicated to helping founders, innovators, and growth stage companies thrive. Hosted by Gary Cooper and Jeremy Bacon. Produced by Alex Bacon. Original theme music by Jimmit. Special thanks to our guests for sharing their hard-earned lessons with us. And thank you for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with someone who's building something worth leading. Thanks.